Hello, sir.
Hi.
I have been admiring you from afar for a long time,
Thank you.
and I see the way you do ministry is not like regular pastors. I see the way you do it with excellence. I see the way and it looks very effortless and seamless. And I would like to understand, or I would like you to just maybe tell me how that is.
Well, for me, it's not abnormal. It's not. It's not something you contrive. I came into doing God's work as a thing from the streets. I was involved in investments. I did a lot of businesses, and then God found me, like people say, and called me to do the work. But He called me under a ministry that was involved in intense prayer and fasting. And I admired the Prophet Samson Ayoride. And I began to, in spite of prophecies of the past, I began to emulate, I began to copy him in fasting and in prayers. So I do quite a bit of it. And so the way God called me was simply, often He would say to me, take up your pen and write. And so I came into the work first that He sent me here. And He sent me with a map, a road map to what we should do. So you see, I didn't have the privileges of either going to a Bible school or following norm. I followed the leading of the Lord. And so for me, what people seem to say that it's either abnormal or not the normal thing to do is natural. That's the right word to me. Because that's all I know. You know, and for every one of us, we are called into various parts. You know, yours is different from mine, mine is different from yours. So like they say in the streets now, and I learned this word not too long ago, in this work you face your face. That's how it works.
Yeah.
You face your face. So basically that, and sometimes our backgrounds, or often our backgrounds, affect us.
Affect us, yeah.
And so you could look around you and look at me. You want to probably copy it, but not understanding the background that I came out from. And so, yes, my background, education, I'm a lawyer by training. My education, my background has affected a lot of the things that you see around. And then my upbringing in church has also affected my work in one way or the other. So that's what it is.
Yes, because what I've gotten from what you said is natural to you, and trying to follow the way you're following it is as if you are going out of, like, for example, when you see the way people do ministry, they do it very cliche. It's as if there is a certain type of way you should do ministry. There is like a culture that influences it, and I like calling it like religious people. But the way you carry the ministry that you lead is totally different. It's as if it is a break from the norm. It's like a breath of fresh air, because one other thing I really like about your ministry is that it is filled with young people. And you see, the thing about young people and a regular church is that they tend to box these young people and not allow them to express themselves. And most of the times when they express themselves, not necessarily in the Christian sphere, maybe they express themselves in the secular world or something, those religious people would term them to be weak, and they do not know how to manage them. So my question here is, how do you manage every young person under you that is doing one thing or the other? It must not necessarily be Christian things, maybe in the area of music, maybe in the area of dancing, even in acting or making secular events? How do you tend to manage them?
We grow in form. Like I said, my experience shaped a lot of the things I do. A lot of the young boys, what they do today, it's possible that we've done worse. And I'm not very good at pretending. I'll share this story, one from the scriptures when they brought a woman who was caught in adultery. If you remember, what the Lord said to them was a few things the Lord said actually. He said to them, he who has not sinned, cast the first stone. But he turned to the woman and he said to the woman eventually, he said, have I condemned you? And the woman said, no. And he said, go and sin no more. Now, the point is not that he validates the woman's action, but our Lord was tender. He was tender in dealing with people. He was tender in his words. He didn't validate her action, but he was tender in dealing with it, to the point that he says to her, go and sin no more. So for me, if you've done cult, I've done cult. If you've done drugs, I've done drugs. If you've hung out from childhood to now, I've hung out from childhood till now. So till I got born again and got saved. And when the Lord saved me, I still had I had battles to fight. So I look at them and I said, Lawrence, you came through a lot, and so you give yourself room to grow because you had no options. You must give them the opportunity not to run away from church, but to experience and allow God to change them, because essentially we can hardly change anyone. It's the working of the Spirit of our Father. You know, so, and that for me is the guiding light. You allow people to grow, to come. We have to develop confidence in people's future and destiny, and then leave the rest to the Lord. Believe that they would overcome it, and that's essentially what we do. So no matter how bad people say you are, we just know that all things are possible with Him, and so we give them.
That's true. There's this scripture, John 3:17. You know, we often quote John 3:16 and we forget 17. And 17 says that He sent His Son, through which, not to condemn the world, but through Him that the world might be saved. There's this particular friend I have. He practically does everything he's not supposed to do. He's doing the yahoo, he's doing, in fact, everything. So, but one day, I think I just heard it in my spirit that it is in your place to try to change him. And I think the Spirit drew me to that verse I just read, the John 3:17, because I feel that most of the times when young people leave church is because the people in church don't use compassion, just like you said, that Jesus Christ told the woman, use tenderness to tell the woman, go and sin no more. But you see, I believe that the church doesn't give room for young people to possibly express themselves and make mistakes. And so when I felt that nudge in my spirit, it was like, you need to show this person love. It's not that you're calling the person to the house to say, preach Jesus. Just be there for him. Let him come to the house. Let him chill. Discuss with him. And the Holy Spirit, like you rightly said, would be the one to convict his heart in due course. So, like just what you said, I believe that tenderness is what is missing and is making our young people go outside. Maybe possibly with the way they make their hair, like the way I'm doing mine, or the way they dress or something. And because of culture, just like you said, the background, they don't see it as being godly and they judge you, actually. And one other thing I would like to get your thoughts on is, by the grace of God, last year, towards this time, the Lord led us to start a community. And we have been going at it for almost a year. And all we do in the community is just Bible studies and prayers. So by the grace of God, we are going to be turning 1 year next or in March. And the Lord pressed it in our heart to do a physical conference. It seems huge. I was showing Duke and the budget. When I saw the budget, I'm like, hey, is this how this thing is? So, but I have seen you with a vision as big as Nayut Swagger that has grown this big. In fact, it's like one of the largest gospel music concerts or gatherings in Africa. And I would like to know, when the vision came, how did it come? How were you confident that you are God is with you to go through with the vision? And how did you steward that vision till now?
That's quite a lot to answer. But I'll share one personal experience with you with respect to people. My wife and I, we accommodated this young man who seemed to have sexual challenges. And when we did, a lot of believers assumed that we were inclined to validate
His actions,
his lifestyle. For us, it's not a question of validation. The Bible, our dad's word, says that those who are led by the Spirit of God are the sons of God.
Sons of God, yeah.
There are some people you may need to scold. There are some people you may need to be tender with. You must be able to discern what the Spirit of the Lord is saying to you. And so we accommodated the young man. And some people were upset, some people were angry with us. But I was absolutely convinced that we were on the path of God. Suffice it to say now that the man is married with kids and had walked away from
his previous lifestyle.
But we didn't need to scold him. He and I talked about it over and over. Even when he falls or falters, he will come back to me and share his experiences. And I'll pray with him and I'll guide him. And today, it's not rumored to be his lifestyle. So the essential thing is to be led by the Spirit of God and know within you that this is what God says in His Word. And I'm not acting against it. And I'm also not validating
What
the person's lifestyle. However, people are prone to be very judgmental. And he who has no sin, let him cast the first stone. That's just it. Be led by God. But the second question you asked me, a tough one, but very simple too. In the sense that they just live by faith. And I've often said to people that it's not just believers that have faith. The people you call unbelievers do have faith too.
Yeah.
It's just not the faith in your God, but they do have faith. A lot of people who have started big investments or gigantic investments, and I've been opportune to be a consultant to many and to help people raise funds in the streets. And I know that a lot of them started practically with nothing. If you read about the man that started Zenith Bank, for instance, you would know that it practically started in his house. But look at where they are today. I tell our people, and this is what I say to the young people, I say to them, and I'm still young by God's grace, I say, listen, the advantage I have is that fear knows that in spite of my fear, I will do what God says I should do. I think, and this is me, I think I'm more afraid of God than I am of fear. So another thing is that I don't just seek His presence. I seek what man cannot give. And sometimes it falls within the ambience of grace and obedience. If you're obedient, you eat the best of the land. If you're obedient, then all things will be obedient to you. And there are blessings a man cannot give you that God's grace activates. So for me, it's more or less like, in fact, let me throw this in. When God allowed us to build a structure for church, because again, we didn't take the normal path of raising funds. So we didn't raise funds, we didn't create envelopes for church building. It took a toll on me. And I shortly after we moved in, the Lord said to us to travel to Akwa Ibom State to start work there. And He says for 8 months. And we will travel from Calabar to after church on Sundays, we'll travel. But before that incident, I noticed that whenever God asked us to do something after the church building, I would wait for the funds to come in first. I would say in my heart, then give me the money for it. And so when He asked us to do that, without thinking, we took the leap. And after 8 months, I asked Him, so why did you send us there? He said, one, son, because building has affected your work. The truth of the matter is, like one politician said to me, I said to him, or rather one big man said to me, I said to him, well, we're talking about appointments anyway. Let me put that aside. but we need to get into the frame. If God says leap, leap. If He says stand, stand. A lot of times in this generation, for instance, people would ask you, but why? Dad, why? Why would you ask me to? They need you to explain it. A lot of times God doesn't explain. In fact, often He explains after the fact. So you swagger, I contemplated it. And I shared it with First Lady. I shared it with PM, my wife, whom people fondly call Mama, or PM. I said, if I'm given opportunity, I said, I would like to do something for the youth one day. And this is what it would be like. This is what it would be like. This is what it would be like. And then I shared it with someone else who happens to be a pastor in church. And that was it. I never thought of giving birth to it as in starting it immediately. But something happened in Unica that there was a protest and a couple of things happened and which led to all of it happening. The governor's wife called me and asked basically, she said she was directed by God to talk to me about the youths. And so we got talking and eventually got talking as to what to do with the youth. And so I said, well, I have these plans all planned out, visions for the youth. I would give it to you as a gift. And then we'll go around talking about it. And they started. And they gave us facilities to start it in Cultural Center. And from the first day, the space wasn't enough for us. But we were patient. And we didn't start asking or begging people for money. It was one step at a time. One step at a time. One of the things that I would always counsel people to do, if you are assigned on an assignment by God, is be convinced absolutely that it is Him. Don't be afraid. If you fall, you haven't failed. The man who started Businessmen's Fellowship, when he started it, I have his book. When he started it, they were not up to 10 for an event that he had planned that at least 100 to 1,000 people would attend. But on that day, people didn't come out. And he did it again and again and again and again. And one day the heavens opened up for him. Look at where the Businessmen's Fellowship is now. So as to what you have started, just keep at it. It might not be normal, but abnormality is the thing in the kingdom. Because young people are very judgmental and they look at what they see. So your work and your testimony, that's your lifestyle and your testimonies must align. That is what you swagger essentially is.
Okay.
Bringing to the open what we do privately in church, so to say. So there's nothing particularly new. We're evolving every day, we're evolving every day. We're evolving every day. I think they asked Archbishop Benson Idahosa a few years ago, before he passed on to glory. They asked him, what is the greatest thing you have done? He said, that which I'm yet to do.
Still to come.
It's still to come. The greatest is that which I'm yet to do. So for us, it's evolving every day and every day.
Thank you very much, sir.
You're welcome.